This is the #1 multi-generational community, not only in the state of Florida, but in the United States 7 years in a row, with over 2,200 homes sold just last year. So whether you're looking to relocate here to Florida or you're just curious, this is the ultimate guide for living in one of the most desirable communities in America. Welcome back. I'm Ryan Zachos. I'm broker owner of Zachos Realty Design Group. I started this firm with my father, who retired from the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office after 25 years. We started this firm based off of honesty, trust, authenticity, transparency, and not just transactions. I and my father love to meet everyone that's relocating here because we do believe that real estate is based off of relationships. And in a world where there's a lot of noise and hype and entertainment, I want to provide this channel and I want to be a resource and allow you to make informed decisions in that relocation journey. Before we get started, please check out our website, zachosre.com. You will see free downloadable guides that have relocation guides for Lakewood Ranch, all the master plan communities. We also have a neighborhood quiz, and we have Areas Pay that has every single neighborhood in Lakewood Ranch and Welland Park, all the details for each community that exists on the website. That will be a plethora of information for you to check out. Now let's dive into the video. What is Lakewood Ranch? Lakewood Ranch is a 50 square mile master plan community that sits in Sarasota County and Manatee County. Most of the villages, as they call them, the neighborhoods, are in Manatee County, but Sarasota and the Waterside District is a newer section that exists in Sarasota County, and it's a wonderful area of Lakewood Ranch. Today, Lakewood Ranch is home to over 50,000 residents, and when fully built out, we're expecting more than 100,000 people to live in Lakewood Ranch and make up the area. Why does it rank as one of the top-selling master plan communities in the U.S. year after year after year? I believe it blends perfectly. It's thoughtful design, wonderful school system, wonderful healthcare, wonderful lifestyle. There's a community for everyone. So whether it's a first-time homebuyer, a young family, a young professional, or a retiree, there's literally a village or a community exactly for you that makes up your demographic and exactly what you would want within a community. That is what's drawing people. Then you pair that with its geography. I would argue that this is the best geography for any master plan community where you can find new construction anywhere in the state of Florida. In Lakewood Ranch, you have about 49 different neighborhoods. About 20 of these you can still purchase new construction in. I'm going to break out each community into a buyer pool. So different lifestyle or buyer demographic. I'm going to give you 7 categories of types of neighborhoods that you can find in Lakewood Ranch, and I'm going to give you the number of communities that make it up. In this video, I'm not going to give you the names of the communities and go into each community specifically. I have another video on the website where you can check that out, and it breaks down every single community, and it gives you a little value proposition for each community there. I'm just going to give you how many communities make up the category, and then I'm going to talk about the pros and cons for Lakewood Ranch, the cost of living in Lakewood Ranch, and all the pertinent information you need to know to relocate, and if you're looking to relocate into Lakewood Ranch. So these categories are going to be established neighborhoods, affordable new construction, mid-tier new construction, amenity-rich communities, golf communities, 55 plus neighborhoods, and then luxury communities. That's gonna be the 7 categories that we will discuss today. So let's dive right into established communities. If you are looking in Lakewood Ranch, these communities are everything from the very first community that started in the mid-1990s when Lakewood Ranch was just getting launched in Summerfield, to Riverwalk, and then to the newly completed communities like Woodleaf Hammock and other communities that just completed new construction. I love these communities. These are some of my favorite communities in all of Lakewood Ranch because if you are looking for something that's more mature, that has these large oak trees that canopy the streets, they have character, typically lower HOAs, and I would argue that the geography for most of these communities is better than what you would get in some of the newer constructions, because in Lakewood Ranch, it's building from west to east, and it typically has been from south to north. Now we have the Waterside District of Sarasota County, so we're getting some new construction there, which is some great geography. But as a whole, west to east, so a lot of these older communities, the more established communities, are on the western side, which gives you greater access to areas like downtown Sarasota and the Gulf Coast beaches. For the next type of communities I want to talk about is going to be the affordable new construction community. These are going to be new construction homes that are available for under $500,000. There are 7 communities that fit this bill. A side note real quick, there are going to be communities that fit multiple categories. So an example would be Star Farms. Star Farms, I'm going to put in the amenity rich community because it is like living in a resort. There are multiple amenity centers, but there are affordable home options, there are mid-tier construction options, and then there are luxury home options in their custom build section section of Star Farms as well. For the sake of this, I'm putting the amenity rich section because if you are a buyer looking for communities that have these amenity rich complexes, then you want to know what those are, and then I can break down the price point from you once you actually determine that. So we'll dive back into the affordable new construction. I just want to mention that first. A lot of people are looking in this category. They're either first-time home buyers, they're downsizers, they're snowbirds. There's some great options. So whether it's a townhome or whether it's a single-family home, there's some great options that fit that bill of new construction under $500,000. New construction is important in this world with updated codes, updated roof, windows or shutters for hurricanes. So that is an important aspect to getting new construction in today's world. The next section I'm going to talk about is the amenity-rich communities. There are 7 villages that make up this category as well. These villages are everything from the Esplanade, so Esplanade Golf and Country Club, to the new construction version of Esplanade Golf and Country Club in Nazario. Then you have Lennar's products of Lakewood National, then Lakewood National's new product, which is called Calusa Lakes. These are all in this amenity-rich category, but there are 7 communities as a whole that make up this category. If you are looking to live in a resort with lawn maintenance included and have more of that social aspect to a neighborhood, look no further than these communities. They are spectacular. They are gorgeous. They are living in luxury in a resort-style community. Reach out if you want some more information on these communities, these 7 that make it up. The next I want to talk about is the mid-tier new construction. So these are new construction homes that fit between $500,000 and $1 million. There are 6 different communities that fit this bill. If you're looking to elevate your home a little bit from the D.R. Hortons and Lennar's to more of a Neil product or a Homes by Town product, this is going to be that category. We're going to have a little bit more customization in a home, a little bit more design options. These builders have design centers where you can choose your finishes, where if you're looking for more of the affordable home community, you're going to get an inventory home that has no frills and typically no options. You are buying the home as it is. These communities are going to be like new communities like Windward, Palm Grove, or like the new Shellstone community in Waterside where Homes by Town is featured. Again, these communities are more elevated new construction communities. So these communities are typically good for people that are looking to upsize from their more affordable home, growing families, young professionals, and oftentimes remote workers that need a dedicated place in the house to work. Great option for those people. And then we'll talk about the next category, which is going to be the golf communities. There are 6 dedicated golf communities. Some of my favorite communities on Lakewood Ranch are these golf communities. I love golf. I love playing golf. But one of my favorite communities on Lakewood Ranch is Lakewood Ranch Golf and Country Club. I love it because golf membership is not required. So you get the benefit of living in a country club with 4 private courses that make it up and all the social aspects. The memberships are not required. So you can have a social membership that is very affordable and you have access to 4 private courses. And now there's a Country Club East version of that where there's newer construction. I love the charm and the history and the maturation of Lakewood Ranch Golf and Country Club, one of my favorite communities in Lakewood Ranch. And then you have other golf communities with bundled golf or deeded golf. There are lots that are non-deeded, so you can live in the social element of the community and enjoy that without paying the golf dues. And then you have the Lennar communities where all the golf is bundled into the home and the HOA dues. Tons of options there if you're looking for specific golf communities in Lakewood Ranch. Then let's dive into the 55 plus communities. There are 3 55 plus communities. There are 2 Del Webbs, and then there's Crestwind. Crestwind is a Coulter product. It's a little bit more of a modest version of a Del Webb, a little bit smaller community, but it doesn't lack for luxury, doesn't lack for amenities. The biggest difference is the Del Webbs have the poolside restaurant and bar, which people absolutely love. Crestwind doesn't offer the restaurant and bar, but again, great social calendar, activities director, everything that you would want in a 55 plus community. Crestwind is offering, and then everyone knows Del Webb and how famous they got for that 55 plus product. There's an established Del Webb of Lakewood Ranch, and then there's a new one that just launched in Catalina. New construction opportunities there, especially some great incentives going on with Del Webb and their product. That's the 55 plus communities. That's obviously, we know who is targeting those communities. And the last one's going to be the luxury communities. These luxury homes are going to be homes where they start at over $1 million. There are going to be 7 communities that make this up. These are going to be communities from the prestigious Lake Club, which is going to be the most luxurious, the most exclusive community in all of Lakewood Ranch, to the new construction version of Lake Club, which is going to be Wild Blue, to other communities like Monterey or the Isles, where you are starting at $1 million to get into these homes. Those are Toll Brothers products. So again, there's wonderful luxury communities where there's small enclaves where there's 8 lot options and they're all custom home builders sitting on a beautiful Kingfisher Lake. So now let's dive into the cost of living. What is the cost of living here in Lakewood Ranch? I live in Lakewood Ranch, like I said, so I can give you a transparent, honest conversation about what it costs to live. The median house price in Lakewood Ranch is right around $600,000. The median new construction build price is probably around $700,000. There are a bunch of affordable options, so that is out there, but overall the price point is a little bit higher than the state average as well as the national average. The rental price, you can find apartments for rent at $2,000 to $2,500 mark. Typically the single family homes in Lakewood Ranch run from $3,000 to well over $4,000 or $5,000 if you're looking for a larger home with a pool. The HOA dues for these communities vary greatly. You could be in a community like Summerfield where it's $100 a year for HOA, and it's not a very active HOA, it's not very restrictive, and there's no amenities except for the local parks and the community parks. But then you have other communities where it's $600, $700, and even higher if there's bundled golf for HOA. The average HOAs, I would guess, is probably that $250 to $350 range for most of the communities in Lakewood Ranch that have some amenities. And then there are CDDs for the majority of these communities here. The CDD is fee that is rolled into your tax bill. These CDDs can vary from $1,500 a year all the way up to $3,500 a year or so, again, depending on lot size, community, home. There's so many variables, but typically the community itself is dictating that CDD. Most of the communities, there's only 2 or so communities in all of Lakewood Ranch that don't have a CDD. Just know that going in, that CDDs do exist. Your tax rate here for the area is about 1.25% of your assessed value. If you buy a house for $500,000, I'm just doing quick math, expect a tax bill of about $6,000-$7,000 a year, and then your CDD would be inserted in that tax bill on top of it. That would be your tax bill. That would be escrowed if you have a mortgage. Your HOA dues would be separate, a bill that's due directly to the HOA. For insurance, if you buy a newer construction home, it's always lower. The more established homes, even though they're not that old, are a little bit more expensive. I live in an established community. My home is about 20 years old or so. My insurance bill is about $2,500 a year. Flood insurance typically won't be required because of all the new construction. We are building them out of flood zones now. Flood insurance won't be required unless you're in a couple different sections of different communities where flood insurance might be required. And I can help you with that if you have any questions regarding what are those communities and what are those different sections of the communities where there might be a flood zone, especially along the Braden River. There's some pockets there. Expect a insurance cost about $1,500 to $3,000 ish a year. It could be lower if you're in a townhome or a condo. As for utilities, your electric bill would be $150 to $300 depending on the size of home. If you have a pool, if it's winter or summer, obviously your electric bill is a lot higher. We do have natural gas here. Expect $50 to $100 a month in that. Your water bill, about $100 a month. We have high-speed internet with Frontier, Spectrum, Comcast, typically all available in the area. So you have all the national rates. I pay $30-$40 a month for internet. The utility costs are pretty much on par with a national average, nothing crazy there. Where it is more costly is the price of homes. HOA and CDDs are typical, a little bit higher than some of the national averages. For schools and education, this is why Lakewood Ranch is growing like crazy. It's because it's not just for retirees. The young professionals and young families are seeking it out. And schools, even if you are a retiree, are so important because it is drawing people. And if it draws people, then your value of your home will always maintain that value and probably go up over time. It makes an area that is not just designated for retirees. It is drawing people from all over and all different types of walks in life are drawn into Lakewood Ranch. Anywhere in Manatee County in Lakewood Ranch, all A-rated schools, the elementary, middle, and then there's a high school, Lakewood Ranch High School, and they're actually about to start a new Lakewood Ranch High School as well. These are all A-rated schools, wonderful schools. You can pretty much drop yourself anywhere in Lakewood Ranch in Manatee County and be an A-rated school. Sarasota County schools right now, in the section where Waterside is, and the Sarasota County version of Lakewood Ranch is not the best school zone. So just be cautious there and work with someone that knows how to navigate the school zones in the area if you are looking to relocate and want good schools. They are fixing that problem in Sarasota County. Plans going for a charter school that will exist, that will service that Waterside district right in Shellstone actually. But that is coming. It's just not here yet. But Manatee County, again, if schools are important, look for the home in Manatee County in the heart of Lakewood Ranch. And that's where I would target for that. But there are options for public, private, and again, private, there's a Step Up Act. I can help you with that. If you have kids, my kids go to private school and a wonderful private school, and the state subsidizes the cost of private education, no matter your income or your earnings. The state does subsidize that cost. They believe that everyone has the right for private education. There's charter and there's alternative options. And then we also have secondary education levels too. So whether you're looking to continue education post high school, there's college options, and there's also even educational options for senior adults if you want that continued learning as you get older. Now, as for employment and economy, obviously as Sarasota grows and the outside area of Sarasota continues to grow and Lakewood Ranch continues to grow, it's bringing a lot of industry into the area, more than we ever have. I was born and raised here. We didn't really have industry. It was always kind of a retirement centric town, but that is growing. You have a lot in construction and a lot in real estate, but also in healthcare. The largest employer in Sarasota County is Sarasota Memorial Hospital. There's a wonderful healthcare system in Manatee and in Lakewood Ranch. Specifically, there's a hospital there. Healthcare is a big employer and a big industry. Finance is a big employer, big industry. Insurance is a big employer and industry here. And then obviously construction, real estate, and then retail is another big one for the area as well. There are tons of options. And even with COVID and that whole transition for remote work, that has drove a lot of people here to the area as remote workers. So now we have great co-work options and places where people can set up shop and with like-minded people, people in tech space, people in HR, you name it. There are people working, and these co-work spaces are full, they're bustling, they're vibrant, and there's tons of energy. I love working in these co-work spaces here in the area. And we do know, as a state, Florida is a business-friendly state, so obviously that leads into a very business-friendly county and area. There's no state income tax, but on top of that, there are 5 business parks in Lakewood Ranch and over 2,600 businesses that exist here in Lakewood Ranch. And then there is a Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance that has over 700 members as well. So again, tons of growth leads to tons of opportunity, and then obviously economic growth and opportunity as well. One thing that makes Lakewood Ranch also so desirable, as we talked about it earlier, is the geography. This makes traveling in and out of Lakewood Ranch super accessible, and this is great. That leads into the employment world as well. So you have great access to Tampa, great access to St. Pete, great access to Fort Myers, Sarasota, Bradenton. There's a great metro all around Lakewood Ranch. Lakewood Ranch is kind of sitting in the middle of it. So you have wonderful access to multiple airports, International Airport in Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota, Punta Gorda, Fort Myers, 5 different airports, all within about an hour of Lakewood Ranch. And then again, all these large metros like Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota, Bradenton, Fort Myers, Venice, all these areas surround Lakewood Ranch, and I-75 running right through Lakewood Ranch gives you great accessibility up and down to travel, and then the airports as well. Now, as for lifestyle and activities, this is something that is drawing people. When people move to Florida, they want to live outdoors, they want to enjoy the lifestyle that Florida brings as a whole, and the Gulf Coast is very special in that way. Obviously, we have arguably the best beaches in the United States with Siesta, Lido, Longboat, Anna Maria, Venice, Shark's Tooth capital of the world, all the way down to Minnesota Key. The beaches are very different and they're beautiful, very natural options, commercial options, and some spectacular stuff. There's over 150 miles of trails in and throughout Lakewood Ranch. There's 13 parks in and throughout Lakewood Ranch. There's easy access to tons of golf options, so whether it's public or private, in Lakewood Ranch. And then of course we got the golf beaches. So there's always something to do, whether it's in Lakewood Ranch or in the immediate proximity to Lakewood Ranch. All right, now real quick, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of pros and cons for Lakewood Ranch. I know this is important as you are weighing if Lakewood Ranch is an option for you or not. This will hopefully help you in understanding some pros, but then also some cons that exist. I want to be transparent and honest about some of the cons that I hear from locals. So 4 pros, 3 cons, real quick. The first pro, master plan convenience, activities, and recreation. Because it is a master plan community, it was all built intentionally, from the roads to the shopping centers to the restaurants. They knew before they were even building the first community exactly how it was going to lay out and what that experience was going to be like. I absolutely love that aspect. From the 150 miles of trails, the 13 parks, they knew where they're going to be, what they were going to exist, and they are building the community around nature, with 40% of Lakewood Ranch being committed to green space or water, but natural surroundings. So I love that about Lakewood Ranch. And again, that master plan feeling is something to be proud of. Number 2, it's cleanliness and safety. You can't be anywhere pretty much in the state of Florida being a safer or cleaner environment. So from its well-maintained landscaping, its roads, to everything that Lakewood Ranch has to offer, I personally love living there because I love the newness of it. I love the cleanliness of it. And I, of course, love the safety of it all. The third pro is a multi-generational appeal. Again, we alluded to it earlier, but it's not just a 55 plus community like the Villages is. This is a master plan community where there are 49 villages that cater to anyone and everyone. And I love that aspect because I like doing life in a community where we have young families and retirees all in the same community. It brings a different life and energy to each community. Then the last pro I want to touch on is the geography again, but specifically geography, proximity to the best beaches, and arguably the best beaches in the state of Florida, the Gulf Coast beaches. There's not many places where you can buy or have this many options for new construction, over 20 communities, over 20 different builders, all within 45 minutes or so to the #1 beach in the United States. So spectacular community offerings with proximity to travel, but then also the Gulf beaches and recreation. Can't beat that. Those are the 4 pros. 3 cons real quick. With all this growth, it leads to traffic, growth, construction. Right now, Lakewood Ranch Boulevard is under construction. It's planned on being in construction all the way through the rest of this year. So that's kind of a pain. It's a hassle to deal with. That growth is bringing in a lot of construction, and it's just something we have to deal with. Also, a lot of traffic. There's congestion, especially in season from that January to April mark. There's a lot of traffic going on. So that's something that people aren't fond of. But again, if you know where to travel, how to travel, and what times to travel, it definitely helps a lot, and especially some areas to avoid. So those are definitely a con. The second con is going to be the cost of living. We talked about that earlier. It is higher than the state average. It is higher than the national average. So it is not for everyone. But again, I think a lot of people would argue that there is great value for what you are getting in the product overall. So it's worth it, but you do have to be made aware that there is additional costs associated with living in Lakewood Ranch. And then the last thing is a suburban feel. There are communities where you have walkability to whether it's Waterside or Main Street. So like Edgewater community for Main Street, maybe Lake House Cove or Shoreview for Waterside. There are some great communities with walkability, but overall it's very suburbia. It's very suburban. You lose that urban aspect, that walkability. I'm in downtown Sarasota. I love this urban environment. I love coming into Sarasota, but I also that's why I like Lakewood Ranch, because Lakewood Ranch gives you great proximity to Sarasota, where you can come down, go to a Zachos restaurant in Indigenous, or check out a Broadway show, whatever it may be. We'll talk about that. But if you are looking for a more walkable urban environment, then Lakewood Ranch will not be it. That is a con for Lakewood Ranch. Now, let's dive into some of my insider tips and favorites before we head out. The first thing I want to talk about is I want to give you some of my favorite neighborhoods for those different buyer lifestyles. So the first thing I'll talk about is families. Some of my favorite family neighborhoods is going to be Star Farms. You have multiple amenity centers specific to different demographics within the community, but their main complex is spectacular with a resort pool. The restaurant bar just opened in the community, but there's great options on housing as well, all different price points, different size of houses. Star Farms, Mallory Park, both walkable from, they're building a new school essentially right outside of Star Farms as well. So the walkability to schools, the wonderful school zones that they're sitting in, but then also the amenities that are catered toward young families and kids. Those are great, 2 great communities to target. Mallory Park's all resale, Star Farms you can get some, but there again, there's tons of more options for young families. Professionals and walkability lovers, I love Lake House Cove, I love Shoreview in Sarasota County in Waterside District. Those are 2 wonderful communities where the houses are great, the buildings are elevated, you're on a lake and you have walkability, and then also the geography into Sarasota is great in Waterside. So Shellstone's another option there in Waterside as well. You don't really have necessarily walkability, but you're a bike ride away into a Waterside place there. So and then I like Edgewater from that perspective into Main Street. So that's in the Manatee County side, but Main Street, Lakewood Ranch, I like Edgewater. Again, it's on a huge lake in Manatee County, and you can walk to Main Street from there. For retirees that are non-55 plus, I love the Esplanade products in Azario and Esplanade Golf and Country Club. Taylor Morrison is overall the builder, and there are options from maintenance-free villas all the way up to large single-family homes sitting on the golf course. So there's kind of something for everyone in these communities, and you could have either the bundled golf or the non-bundled golf, deeded golf or non-deeded golf in the community. So if you just want the social aspect, you can pay half the cost in the HOA dues for the community. So those are wonderful communities. Again, the Lennar products as well. In Lakewood National, wonderful with, lower end condos or more affordable condos up to, again, larger single family home options. And then Calusa Lakes for brand new construction as well is a great product in Lakewood Ranch if you are a retiree looking for that resort style living. For luxury seekers, highly recommend the Lake Club. Again, most elegant, most luxurious, most exclusive neighborhood in all of Lakewood Ranch if that's what you're targeting. If you want a new construction version of that, I would target Wild Blue. I love stock, and then there's a bunch of custom builders that are building in Wild Blue as well. The amenities are going to be spectacular in there, and it's going to be the newer version of the Lake Club once it's all said and done. So love Wild Blue, love the Lake Club, and then the Isles would be a good smaller, kind of more quaint option. Toll Brothers is the builder there, and then Monterey is the kind of the newer version of the Isles that the Toll just launched there off of Fruitville in Sarasota County. And then I want to give you a little tidbit or a little kind of insider that's not in Lakewood Ranch, if you are looking for nature, if you're looking for land, if you're looking for that opportunity just outside of Lakewood Ranch, there's a large community called Panther Ridge. Panther Ridge is just east of Lakewood Ranch. And if you want that 5 acres and you want that exclusivity and you want to be a little bit more removed, that is a place I would target. Again, it's not in Lakewood Ranch, but I'm kind of throwing that in there as an option if that is something that you are targeting. So I'm going to end with some of my local favorites. First, I'm going to say that I love the Waterside Farmers Market on Sundays. I love the downtown Sarasota Farmers Market on Saturdays. Those are both vibrant, tons of energy, tons of vendors, some really good stuff from produce to local shops. They come out and it's a fun time with live music and everything else going on. So I love the farmers markets. That's a little insider note. Favorite restaurants, love Owens. There's an Owens in downtown Sarasota. And there's also an Owens now in Lakewood Ranch as well. It's a fish camp. They bring in their fish daily and it's spectacular seafood. Love Indigenous. Indigenous is downtown Sarasota. So come check that out if you are in the area. That's kind of a little secret spot. But again, Zagos restaurant, Bobby Flay was here not too long ago, checking it out as well. Nationally recognized restaurant. So that's some of my favorites on the restaurant side. Things to do, paddle boarding through the mangrove tunnels on Lido. Definitely do that. Check that out. The boating is spectacular in and throughout the intercoastal and the bay here and the Gulf Coast. The beaches, there are tons of beach accesses. I'm not going to give you on this video my favorite beach accesses because they're kind of still secret. They're secluded. They're a place I love to go with my family where I don't have to fight the traffic or fight the people. I can go watch a sunset in complete serenity. So if you want to reach out and we end up working together, I will definitely share some of those spots with you, but I don't want to blast that here on YouTube. So thanks so much for sticking around and watching this video. You are going to be more informed than 99% of the people that are relocating here. Hopefully it gives you a good idea of the different types of communities with the different offerings, the cost of living, and everything that goes into moving and living in Lakewood Ranch. Again, I would love to be a resource for you in this relocation journey. I would love to chat. I would love to touch base. I'd love to meet eventually. Check out the guides on our website. Check out that neighborhood quiz. Check out the communities that I've put and built on the website. And if you have any questions at all comparing neighborhoods or getting my thoughts and perspective of depending on your exact situation, I would love to chat more about it. So feel free to reach out, email, text. We are available. I look forward to hopefully talking to you soon. Thank you.